One of the big shifts, I think a lot of us are talking about it now, is video until recently has been a single screen phenomenon. It's been around the TV, and as it shifted from multi-platform, it's created a whole new set of opportunities for technology companies to actually solve the problems that it creates, right? And I think the first problem is around the PC, and we got excited around things like Brightcove and Udemy to figure out how, and ComScore, frankly, how you can add value to that ecosystem as they got onto new platforms. And I think what we're seeing that platform proliferation is accelerating, not decelerating. So the thesis that anytime a new media goes to new platforms, it creates new opportunities, I think is completely true and still valid. So, last couple years around the PC, I think going forward, you really have to look at the mobile platform. I think the mobile platform is much more than the phone now, but it's the iPads, it's the portable devices. And I think that creates another set of technology challenges, a set of innovation that's going to happen, whether it's on the measurement side or on the delivery side or on the monetization side. And I think the challenge I think we're all alluding to is anytime there's a new platform, the first thing you do is port existing stuff to it, right? When TV first created, it was a guy like just talking to the TV screen as if he was a radio announcer, right? And I think that happens in any new platform evolution. So what first happened on the PC was people say, hey, let's just put TV content we have on the big screen onto the PC. And that had some success, but not everything ported over. And then YouTube came along and showed that, hey, there's new formats, new technologies that, like Flash, et cetera, that people can get excited about. That's a new way of consuming media. And I think that evolution is just at the early stages, and there's still a lot more to do. And I think the iPad is going to create a whole new set of applications that we haven't even seen before.
So we should think about creating different kinds of content, different packages of content for the iPad, simply because it's the iPad, it's a different size screen, I'm using it differently.
I think I'd go further than that. It's more than just a different size screen. I think that's kind of the first, like, okay, let's make it smaller, let's make it higher fidelity for a smaller screen. But how do you integrate location-based functionality of the iPad into a viewing experience? Right, the iPhone's got a gyrometer. How can you integrate an ad experience with that capability? So taking advantage of the endemic platform for building new content and new ads, I think is where a lot of the innovation is going to be coming.
But on the flip side, I remember a few years ago when the sort of first wave of mobile came out and mobile video, there were people were creating studios and separate editing suites just to create sort of mobile-specific video. The idea was you want to shoot a sports show or a talk show or something specifically for mobile phones, and that seems to have gone away. Is that because they were wrong and there isn't a need for that, or the economics didn't work out at the time?
I think there's two things. One is I think a lot of people looked at the mobile platform just as a smaller TV screen, and they were shooting things for that as opposed to saying, what is the use case? I think maybe it was Mark said earlier that, or Bob, when they're using the mobile phone, what is the stuff they actually really want to watch, and how do they want to consume that type of content? I think people are understanding the use cases around mobile a lot better now than they ever have, because before, the mobile was just a phone. You were using it to make phone calls, and people weren't thinking about it as a media device. And I think that's fundamentally shifted. So I think the content in the past may not be the type of content we'll see going forward. And I think the other point you touched upon is the other shoe to drop, which is how do you monetize mobile? We were investors in a company called AdMob that is now part of Google, and I think their ability to monetize kind of more text-based and banner-based type content really create an ecosystem that suck developers, application people to the mobile platform, and Apple and Google are continuing to open up those platforms for other developers. So I think that's going to happen with mobile video as well.
So any video stuff you don't want to touch at all after the YouTube Google deal? There's a big rush of sort of next generation YouTubes, and a lot of them hit the wall and have gone away. Do you see stuff like that on the horizon now, where you're saying, I want to stay out of that sector, it's overbought?
I think there's still a little question around a lot of the over-the-top stuff, which is direct to a media device. And I'm not saying that the Google TV stuff and the Apple TV stuff won't work. I just think it brings a set of complexity when you're dealing with some of the studios and contents and licensing of that content, and it's a question mark whether a startup can actually affect that ecosystem.
So you'd rather not be Boxy trying to navigate between Hulu and
I think Boxy seems to be getting some traction, but there's a lot of other ones that have not seen the light of day or tried to see the light of day and have quickly died. So I think that's an area that you need to be careful out, and from an investment perspective, we haven't seen that ecosystem open up as much as the mobile phone, for example, or the PC.